Okay, so you probably have heard of this feature by now, and obviously you saw the thumbnail there. Now, is the Google Real Tone a gimmick, or is it even real? Let me go ahead and give you my perspective as a person of color. So forget, the photographer's perspective. Let me give you my take on this. Let's go ahead and talk about it. All right, I have reviewed this phone already, and just the camera alone has just so much to offer. There's so much to unpack from that camera alone. But today, I really just want to focus on Google Real Tone. Now, for those of you not familiar with this feature, it was just recently introduced by Google. But essentially what it does is it portrays people with darker skin tone in a better way. So forget the days when if you were trying to film a darker skin tone, you would just light up the room as much as possible and try to shine up as much light on the subject to kind of, make the skin pop. But then in the process, it would end up making the image lean more grayish, right? Mess up all of the key details that you're supposed to take account of. Whereas filming darker skin tone, goes beyond that, right? It's just not about shining as much light as possible on the subject. And a lot of people don't know that. And when this thing was introduced, when Real Tone was introduced by Google, and I was just reading up on it online, I stumbled on a few comments of people just saying, oh, that's the feature, that's the black people feature. It actually isn't. It's not just about the black people feature. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Chris, my good buddy from Pal to Tech, and you guys may know him already. I'm going to make sure he's in the description. But people should be photographed based on a wide variety of things, right? So there are quite a few variables that you should be considering when filming people. The skin color, obviously, the race, but more specifically, the skin tones, right? Especially if you want to film or, photograph them right. And that is simply because there are, different tonalities and, things that you need to play with at a more, granular level, right? You don't want to just throw in a blanket filter on all types of images and expect them to look alike. That's even the reason why when you create, LUTs so that you can use during your editing and try to save time, if you just apply that, that predetermined filter or whatever you've arranged based off of one image, you just apply that on a whole variety of images that are different, you won't get the same results, right? And in my experience as a person of color, so far what I have seen out of this device is nothing short of phenomenal. And this is all thanks to the well-evolved and, well-educated Google AI combined with not only the power of that new custom chip, that new Tensor chip, but more importantly, a Google image data set that is now 25 times more diverse than ever, right? And of course, you cannot forget the all-new redesign and completely upgraded hardware that you have for that camera, which also just helps make a world of difference. And what we are looking at here is a triple camera setup on that camera bar on the back of the phone there. Let's go over them really quick, starting with the telephoto one here. It is a 48 megapixel sensor along with an f3.5 aperture and a 1/2 for the sensor size there. Also, we have up to 4 times optical zoom here, and I did share some pictures of this in my review. The second one here is a wide sensor, and you have 50 megapixel with an f1.85 aperture along with 1/1.31 for the sensor size. Finally, of course, the third one is going to be the ultra wide sensor, and we are looking at a 12 megapixel this time around along with an f2.2 aperture here. And so far, the way I'm talking about Real Tone, on this phone may make it seem like it's something difficult that you have to go out there and, I don't know, follow some tutorials, learn some professional moves. No, that's not the case. It's still going to be a point, and shoot device, right? So you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just point in the direction of whatever the subject is, whatever the image you want to have, and just click that shutter button, and it would do everything, on the back end. It's just for you to learn a little bit more about this particular feature that is new, that is innovative, that was pushed out there by Google. So it is essentially an automated step so that when you film a person with a light skin tone, it will adapt. Then if you switch to filming someone with a darker skin tone, it will also adapt appropriately. No extra or no additional work or steps required from you. So you just point, shoot, and you are good to go. And by the way, I'm certainly hoping that you are enjoying the content so far, which if you are, I truly appreciate that. Please do me a favor, hit both the like and the subscribe button there. Tremendous boost to this channel here, and I truly appreciate that. Now, I always feel very uneasy about filming and posting my family online, pictures of my family online, which is why I'm using these very subtle samples that you see here. But I can definitely tell you that my experience has been absolutely positive, and you can tell the difference. There's almost a tangible difference between this and my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I believe I have it on my desk there. When you take, all the pictures that I took, I was able to compare, and I could tell the difference between the two. The way image quality coming out of the Pixel 6 Pro here was behaving compared to what was coming out of the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Even in low lights, the camera on the Pixel 6 Pro here does a fantastic job at grabbing the subject and actually cleaning out not only all of the noise, but still emphasize the, the darker tones, the more subtle tonalities that you may have on darker subjects. And normally what would happen if you're using a different smartphone, taking a picture of someone with a darker skin tone, and let's say the background or just the setting has too much light, what the image would do is it would actually lose saturation and the person would appear somewhat grayish, right? In fact, that's the reason why some Samsung devices tend to oversaturate, right? So if you take, let's say, a picture of a black person, it would try to oversaturate to minimize the loss of that saturation that you would normally get because the background has too much light. And Samsung phones and devices try to do that to the best of their capability, but it looks like the Pixel 6 Pro here is able to do that with no issues whatsoever. It's able to do kind of an auto white balance. It has an auto white balance going on there that you don't really need to do anything. It applies the proper exposure appropriately to just get the person to appear exactly as they are in real life. So it's really good to see how the AI, that Google AI has, evolved over the years. And you may not know this, but some years back, the Google AI recognition system not as evolved then as it is today. What it was doing there was, for people with really dark skin tones, it would classify those people as gorillas. That was a whole controversy that popped up. It was in the news all over the place. But anyway, and the reason was simply because the AI had a very restricted library of people with different skin tones, or it simply didn't have access to the other racial categories that exist. Now, with all of that being said, Realtone is in no way a response to what the AI used to do. It's not a response to the fact that the AI used to confuse people with darker skin tone with gorillas, but instead it's more of an evolution to see the AI be exposed to a wide variety of skin colors, right? So a wide variety of skin tones. And it has done the software some good, right? Because now we're looking at a more diverse library, a wider and a more diverse library that it can now access and be able to do post-processing, post-picture processing in a more appropriate way and be able to label each skin color or skin tone accordingly. And of course, this is not just all the work of AI, right? There has been some groundwork that was put into place by Google in order to get this to happen, right? They worked with all of these professional, photographers, colorists, people from the film industry, just a wide array of people who specialize in seeing and understanding color in a way that us, the average people, we don't necessarily understand. They understand and they see color differently. And then of course it comes down to you and me to enjoy all of that work. But anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop it here. And by the way, the next video is going to be still on camera and it's gonna be on the Magic Eraser. I'm not sure when I'm gonna push that out, but I'm gonna make one. But anyway, let me go ahead and stop now. Bottom line, as a black creator, I'm pretty sure if you were to talk to other people who either film or who are also creators from different backgrounds, from like, let's say, a Hispanic heritage or an Asian heritage or whatever the case may be, or black heritage, they'll tell you that they're experiencing the same thing that I am, because I could definitely see the difference between filming with this, filming my kids and my wife and friends. I have friends from different backgrounds and just filming that. I was actually just in Philly this past Saturday and filming people from different backgrounds with different skin color. I could tell the difference, and I actually tried that with this and also the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and I could definitely tell the difference. But anyway, I'm certainly hoping that this was informative. Of course, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch you in the comment section. If you have any questions, hit me up with that, things that you would like for me to try with this camera. I would love to do so for you. I'm also going to catch you in the next video, of course. And as always, up until that next video, of course, stay safe out there.